and Member of Parliament for the people of Efutu in the Central Region, Sahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin. And he's here with us. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
By the grace of God, I'm doing well.
It's been a while.
Indeed. But we're doing our work in Parliament. So
Talking
far,
about doing your work in Parliament. And, let me just take you to Parliament, because yesterday, the Public Tribunals Bill generated a lot of debate. Has passed, but your group, the minority, unhappy, walked out. The question is this. This is something that the NDC had indicated they're going to set up. In fact, I remember during the vetting of Dr. Dominic Ayine, he was asked questions about this. What's wrong with a public tribunal?
Well, a justice delivery system, architecture, must guarantee certain outcomes, depending on whether or not you've met a threshold as required by law. You and I know that back in the days, PNDC era, this parallel or analogous justice system was introduced, but they had their own questionable outcomes. Ghana has moved past that era of Chobwe, let the blood flow type of justice system. You recall even recently, Mr. Alex Segbefia responding to one of the NDC foot soldiers who was kind of demanding that people be jailed and all that. And he said, no, you need to follow due process. Our main concern is that just as in the PNDC era, the so-called tribunals did not follow due process, it is likely to be revisited. You put a panel of 3 where you say, as for the chairperson of the panel, must be a lawyer or must have a legal background. However, the other 2 must be lay persons. Lay persons in this context meaning there is no requirement for them to have any legal background at all. That is wrong. A country where sometimes people have their own views about people, and sometimes somebody out of sheer pettiness would want to see a person down. When you want to have a justice system, you're supposed to put in the guardrails that would make it difficult for anybody to abuse it. For instance, yesterday, I was at a public lecture in honor of the former Speaker of Parliament, D.F. Annan, of blessed memory. My Lord Atuguba was the one who delivered the lecture. He, being part of the judiciary and now a retired Supreme Court judge, expressed worry about the judiciary. He said so publicly. Now, even the judiciary we have today, we all have concerns. My point is that the concerns we have must lead to reform and retool. If we want speedy trial, we are in an era of AI, a digitalized world. We should invest in getting the entire court system computerized. The judges must have the necessary incentives, training. Judges must be given the necessary tools. The court infrastructure must be such that justice can be guaranteed. And the way we select them and the way we prepare them must be such that they would understand and know that they are in there to deliver justice. It is not by creating another body, because in your view, the justice delivery architecture can be straightened, so you want a fast-track way. Yesterday, I had the occasion of reminding my respected colleague, Dr. Ayeni, in respect of his own industry in the matter of Tagore and Issa Abbas, when they were jailed in that famous cocaine case. And when it went on appeal, the judges, he himself argued that to determine prima facie, it is not about the public outcry or how a matter is determined by the media as to the guilt or otherwise.
Okay.
But essential ingredients of the offense must be proven. A case must be made. And upon that persuasive argument he made, the court said indeed, the High Court erred in law and they were acquitted. That was a case we celebrated, and we still celebrate, and we celebrate him because the justice delivery system had an appellate arm that a person who was aggrieved took advantage of. We should perfect it rather than to say that you now want a Chobwe approach,
okay,
and let the blood flow approach.
So let's look at something.
And okay, very well. I wanted to conclude.
Okay,
and the jurisdiction of this public tribunal is very purely criminal, where at the district level you have a district court. Now what you're going to do is that you are going to create a system of abuse where the police, realizing that going to the regular court will be difficult for them, they now would go to the district tribunal where there's a Chobwe, let the blood flow, you are guilty as pronounced or as charged. And by the way, as a practitioner, let me bring this to your attention. Mm-hmm. I have encountered several occasions where prosecutors, investigators connive and get people jailed. And this is how they do it. You go to the police station and they say, look, wouldn't be uko kota kase we are guilty judge no uni ojitum judge no be hu mobo yanen be kasama. It is not once, it's not twice. Like what had just happened to this young lady, this TikToker who was jailed. Mm-hmm. Yesterday I received full briefing, and I'm told that the investigator had assured her that, oh, to make it simple, who can say we are guilty? Would you to me say guilty or not guilty? Can say we are guilty? Who can say we are guilty? Ebi obe fine na wakofi ne yetwa so. This is happening. If you talk to any practitioner who does criminal trial, he will tell you. So even already we are having difficulty where the investigators, then prosecutors, police prosecutors use fast track because they want, quick results. And they cajole people to plead guilty and all. Now with this public tribunal system, I'm sorry, you will hear what will happen. But you see, the NDC has a new post in Ethiopia where they won't listen. Yesterday, even organized labor came out with
a
statement.
Let me just find it out from
address the press
before you get to organized labor,
and express the same concerns. Okay, but they won't listen.
So, is it the case that you're totally against the establishment of public tribunals, or you have concerns with certain provisions of the bill?
You can't place something on nothing; it will fall. Mm-hmm. Therefore, to the extent that the tribunal system they are introducing creates some new dispensation, and in my view is going to disturb the system we already know, I cannot be too sure of whether or not people are going to get justice. Therefore, the issue is, if there are concerns about what we have, we should fix it. We all express concerns about some attitude of judges, how sometimes justice is delivered. So we should fix it. The way to fix it is not to make it worse.
Okay. So you are against the whole concept
completely
of public tribunals?
Completely.
Not with certain aspects of it?
No, but the whole thing is you are creating an analogous system where you say you are going to allow lay persons to determine certain cases, and they are three, and you're saying that majority. So if the presiding the chairman of the tribunal who is a lawyer, he is outnumbered by the two lay persons. For him or her should be a lawyer, so would have a certain level of knowledge. But for the two lay persons, they would have to take a vote. So at any point, if they say no to the lawyer who is the chairperson, you go to jail. It's not a matter of they would advise the presiding judge or the chairperson. It's not a matter of they would listen to the facts, and the chairman of the tribunal will now advise them on the law or put all the facts together and take a decision. No, they have equal powers to vote. So if somebody doesn't like you, look, my brother, the truth be told, there are guys in our country who are petty. People envy. Our country has not gotten to the level where people would want to even celebrate success. We've not gotten there yet. People are petty. We know it as a fact. And there are ways people would use it to abuse others, take advantage of others. That is not the way to grow as a country. And it is going to happen.
Okay, because I look at the memorandum to the, and it talks about, what happened under the PNDC. But then the third paragraph says, the adoption of the 1992 Constitution marked a shift towards constitutional democracy and rule of law within the framework provided by the Constitution. The transitional provisions of the Constitution address the future of public tribunals. Specifically, Paragraph 5 of the transitional provisions of the Constitution dissolved the Public Tribunals Board and transferred the functions, assets, and liabilities of the Public Tribunals Board to the Judicial Council. Furthermore, Paragraph 6 required Parliament to prescribe the jurisdiction of regional tribunals under Article 143 and establish lower courts or tribunals under Article 126 within 6 months of the coming into force of the Constitution. Although most public tribunals were abolished, regional tribunals were retained under Article 142 of the Constitution and integrated into the judicial structure, with the jurisdiction of the regional tribunals defined in Section 23 to 27 of the Courts Act. However, regional tribunals have become defunct in practice, with some stakeholders perceiving the regional tribunals as remnants of an authoritarian past. The Tribunals Bill, therefore, seeks to address the lacuna in the legal framework of Ghana regarding tribunals.
Is there any lacuna?
Well,
you have just read their memorandum.
Yes.
And that is what we criticized them for yesterday. There's no lacuna. You see, when they were transitioning into democracy, they themselves wanted to keep certain structures. Mm-hmm. The PNDC regime wanted to keep certain structures. But you see, we've gone long past that. Kufuor's era, we did away with this regional tribunal system. In fact, we wanted to stick to the known court structure, district courts, from there to circuit courts. That's the hierarchy of our courts. You start from the district court, circuit court, high court, court of appeal, and supreme court. At the high court level, we created specialized courts. By the way, even that one became a subject matter of Supreme Court interpretation. The respected Tatuchi Kata,
yes,
challenged that. So the judiciary itself, through the establishment of these specialized courts, has created room for matters to be considered in a manner that would ensure justice. We have concerns, everybody has concerns, and all of that. But I'm saying that the way to address certain concerns you have, or whatever lacuna, so called, is not to establish a regional tribunal or a district tribunal. Tribunal.
So, Article 126 of the Constitution, composition and mode of exercise of power of the judiciary. 1. The judiciary shall consist of A, the superior courts of judicature comprising the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the High Court and regional tribunals. Then B, such lower courts or tribunals as Parliament may by law establish. or it means there's an option not to. But when it comes to High Court and regional tribunals, the law says this shall be the composition.
Well, let me repeat myself. Before we were ushered into the new dispensation, the dispensation we've practiced for some 30 years plus, there was a regime. In coming into this dispensation, they wanted to keep certain structures of theirs. One of it is what you've just read. And I'm saying that some 20 years or so ago, we did away with the regional tribunals. We've not had them. When Kufuor came into office, these regional tribunals, we were taken off. Now, Professor Mills came into office, no regional tribunal. We relied on the traditional court. President Mahama, chapter 1, we relied on the tribunal, the courts. Akufo-Addo, 8 years, we relied on the courts. And Mahama, part 2 or chapter 2, phase 2. Perhaps they are contemplating phase 3. We are now hearing of tribunals. Is it because they have difficulty in using some shortcuts to jail people, so they think that they want the tribunals to do that for them? I think so.
You think so?
Yes. If you see how Iyoko is acting, by the way, look at the police service. Look at national security, BNI. Because they are headed by professional intelligence officers trained for that purpose, you realize that the approach in handling of cases is different. If you go to Iyoko, and with great deference to Mr. Raymond Archer, that is not his fault. If you see how he acts, for instance, you are investigating somebody and you say, post a bail bond worth the sum of your investigation, and you think that it is normal. No, it is not. So some of these excesses we are seeing, you realize that right after coming into force, Iyoko will now be sending cases to the tribunals. You watch.
Hold on a minute.
There's a whole
Hold on a minute for me.
Agenda to set us back.
Okay, I need to get back to that bit, but that will be after these messages. This morning, we've been joined by the Minority Leader and Member of Parliament for Efutu, Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin. Come back, and thank you very much for joining us. If you just join us, this is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. This morning, we have the Leader of the Minority in Parliament and Member of Parliament for Efutu, Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin, in studio with us. But before we get to, other issues, if the NPP post-election 2028 win majority in Parliament, the Public Tribunals bill now passed into a law, is that something you would consider repealing?
Oh, not just winning majority in Parliament, but winning the presidency. You need executive powers to support your legislative powers in Parliament to effect major reforms, transformations, and changes. The MPP's position is very clear. We don't need these regional tribunals. What we need to do is to strengthen our court system, invest in retooling, train our judges, and get those with the necessary integrity to man our courts and dispense justice without fear or favor and respect the law. Basically, that's the position of the MPP. So obviously, anything that would disturb the existing judicial infrastructure would have to go.
Okay. Let's look at something. President Mahama, in this story on myjoyonline.com, nominates 3 to the Supreme Court. A story says the president has nominated 2 Court of Appeal judges and a former president of the Ghana Bar Association for appointment to the Supreme Court, if approved by Parliament. The nominations were made in consultation with the Judicial Council in accordance with provisions of the 1992 Constitution, which requires the President to act in consultation with the Council before the appointment of these justices, subject parliamentary approval. What do you make of these three?
So, first of all, let me get clarity. Is there an official statement from the presidency?
Yes.
There's an official statement from the presidency.
What I have seen is the Major Online story.
Well, so I just want to be sure which stage of the process the whole thing has gotten to. Because if you read Article 1442, it provides, and with your leave, I want to quote,
Okay.
that the other Supreme Court justices shall be appointed by the President, acting on the advice of the Judicial Council, in consultation with Council of State, and with the approval of Parliament. So, has it gone through Council of State, Council, done the advice and all of that? I haven't seen any communication to Parliament. But let's put all those aside and address the substance. Whether or not it's within the mandate of the President to nominate justices to the Supreme Court. I say by provision of the Constitution, yes, the article I quoted supra, the President has the mandate to do that. But there's a political question. The political question is the NDC a principled political party? I submit that they are not a principled political party.
Why?
Because in opposition, they criticized the Akufo-Addo administration for packing the court. You recall that the last set of nominees, two of them, after vetting, the NDC opposed the final process of their approval, and they even became very violent on the House floor. The Ashaman MP, you may recall that when the first deputy speaker was presiding, attacked the first deputy speaker. He was actually injured, Joe Wise. He bled close to his eye. The records are, the videos are there. Where NDC disagreed with us, unlike us who would use a civil means to register protests, they went very physical and went violent, moving chairs, pushing, giving elbows, hitting and assaulting and all of that. That is what they did. Unfortunately, as fate would want it, time has exposed them. Their double standard, their hypocrisy, and their unprincipled posture. Is it now okay to nominate more judges to the Supreme Court? I'm not here to talk about the qualification of these individuals and all. I am attacking the political decision. If NDC says certain things in opposition and cannot stick to what they said now in government, then Ghanaians should not take them serious. You say you are against the packing of the court, that if a government appoints judges to the Supreme Court, it amounts to packing the court. But today, you got the opportunity and you are even doing worse. So where is the principle?
Did you agree at the time that it amounted to packing of the Supreme Court?
You've not
I've
gotten.
been listening.
You've not gotten the point. My view is immaterial in the context of this submission I'm making. I am saying that my party in government, headed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, made nominations to the Supreme Court. The NDC in opposition, led by its flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, opposed those nominations, opposed the decision. Their reason was that it amounted to packing of the court, and came out with this unanimous FC that the MPP was packing the court with its favorites. And I'm saying that now that you have been given the mandate to rule, you are expected to stick to the very views you held. They have not come out to tell us why they have changed their views, because they resisted too. But when they came in, they straight away nominated about 5. And then they are adding more.
Okay, so Justice Benasco Esa was one of the people that you vetted, right?
We did.
That the NDC at the time blocked her approval.
We did.
And they're bringing her back.
The issue is not about bringing her back or not. I am staying on one point, and that is where I will stay. When a political party acts in a politically convenient manner and throws away principles, that political party's sincerity to the electorate must be questioned, and that is what I'm doing.
Okay.
They prevented the NPP majority in parliament from approving. In fact, I was a majority leader. It was not easy for me. I recall your colleagues covered the vetting process. They frustrated us. We went into recess. When we came in October, anytime we tabled the motion to take the report. So after all, you wanted to own the appointment. So should we also say that you want these judges to do your bidding? We will not say that. We would say that you are unprincipled. You don't act by the ethos of politics.
Okay.
You don't believe in the things you say. And we can say that for so many things they said. 1 job, 3 shifts, 24-hour economy, women banking, etc., etc. They said they were going to stop Galamsey. Today, it's not MPP that is criticizing them on Galamsey. It is organized labor. It is civil society that is saying that Galamsey has gotten worse. It's not us, where they will say it is politics. Today, all aspects of the economy, they've abandoned agriculture. Rice, maize, locally produced, are more expensive than imported rice and imported maize. So people are importing rice. Buffer stock. They are buying imported rice, imported maize, and supplying to our students in secondary schools. Locally produced rice, suffering. Locally produced maize, suffering. So there is no market for agriculture in Ghana. Government is solely relying on gold board, thinking that gold board is everything. And now, gold board is not even telling us the gold they buy, whether they have a mechanism to draw a distinction between regularly mined gold and Galamsey mined gold. They are buying everything and encouraging Galamsey activities, and every now and then they come with some media, whatever, to throw dust into our eyes and all of that. So, if they say they are even running the economy, the macro numbers are okay, you talk to the ordinary Ghanaian. He said, no, that is not reflected, because the incentive for even the private sector to grow is not there. If you say 24-hour economy, then you come and you increase electricity tariffs by almost 30%. There's no incentive for the private sector. You cancel 1D, 1F, which was creating an opportunity, opening Ghana up for investment. You say you've cancelled it out of political convenience. In its place, there's no alternative policy for the private sector. As the trade minister, what is the government flagship policy for the private sector? What is the investment they are making in there? What are the incentives they are introducing? What are the reforms? Even taxes. They promise low taxes, but VAT has gone up. They've expanded it, and you are not even getting withholding tax exemption.
How has VAT gone up?
Oh, with respect. They introduced, we used to have a flat system.
Yes.
The flat rate. There's no more flat rate.
Yes.
And the flat rate was to help the informal sector. Those selling at Kantamanto, Abosokai, and all of that.
The threshold. So now
No,
up
Winston,
to 740,000.
Winston, respectfully, I'm not here as Afenyo-Markin telling you something that you say politics. The minority met Guta. The minority met AGI. The minority met Ghana Employers Association. We didn't meet them in secrecy. Media houses were there. They covered it. Go talk to Guta again. Your media platform covered the interaction.
Okay.
They told us how their proposals were rejected by the Ministry of Finance. They didn't even listen to them. There was no consultation and all of that. So let's not attempt a PR for a government that is doing everything wrong.
Nobody attempts a PR for government.
I'm not saying you. I'm being hypothetical.
I know, but I also make the point that as a student of accounting and taxation,
very well,
when the threshold for VAT is increased, so if ordinarily, even in the past, you were selling and you had a flat rate of say 3%, and now that has been increased to say 745,000. What it means is that if you do business of say 200,000, you don't have to charge VAT. Guta and Co had complained in the past, and we did those interviews. They had complained that for those members that were not charging VAT, okay, so the members who would charge VAT, their prices were higher. Those that were not charging VAT, their prices were lower. So then all of them would not charge VAT. The idea, the theory behind it is, okay, if that is the case, if it is increased, it means that the informal sector is taking away, and then you can go ahead and do your business. You talked about 1D, 1F, that it was creating jobs, it was doing this. Let me find out from you, and I'll find that out from you when I come back. You know, the bit about 1D, 1F, it's important we establish the number of jobs it created and the 1D, 1F that the NPP and VC, whether that was what we also saw under implementation. But look, MTN has just brought the prices down and the speeds up on the MTN fiber for home, and your whole household is about to feel it. Movie nights that don't buffer, school assignments that get submitted on time, work calls that don't drop, and your side hustle running smoothly in the background. 3 unlimited speed tiers, one amazing network. Now you can enjoy 100 megabits per second for 299 Ghana cedis, 300 megabits per second for 444 cedis, and 500 megabits per second for 999, all per month. Pick what fits your home. No data caps, no slowdowns, just fiber built for real life. MTN Fiber for home, your speed, your home, your choice, only MTN everywhere you go. But if you're looking to upgrade your workspace or restock your essentials, Kingdom Books has something special just for you. Come through and enjoy unbeatable deals on all your stationery needs, from notebooks, pens, printers to school and office supplies. So whether you're a student, teacher, or business owner, we've got everything to keep you organized and productive. Big discounts up to 70%. Bring your family, tell a friend, and don't miss out on these amazing offers at Kingdom Books Yard Sales. Visit Kingdom Books office at Osu from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Kingdom Books Yard Sales, shop smart, save big. For inquiries, call them on 0501 401 050 or 0244 311 955. Stay with us. We still have the Minority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ifutu Asahin, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, here with us. We'll be right back.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
And you still have your on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. And we have the Minority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ifutu, Asahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin. So you're talking about 1D, 1F, for instance. 1D, 1F started when the NPP took office in 2017. Now, what would you say was the achievement of 1D, 1F that necessitated its continuation?
So let me give you a background to the policy. The policy was basically to provide a tax incentive for industry to grow. Incentive on equipment, incentive on raw material. So if you are importing your raw materials, the taxes that you're supposed to pay on, you don't pay. Government waives that. Equipment for your factory, your production, taxes are waived. And the whole essence of it was to lower your costs for you as an investor, so you are able to produce cheaper. You are able to make that savings to create jobs and to get the economy running. Now, the NDC comes in and says that, no, we don't want 1D, 1F. It's been cancelled. My question to you, to them, is that in its place, what do you have as alternative policy? Zero.
How
Now,
different is that from the 24-hour economy?
What is a 24-hour economy doing?
Tell me.
No, I don't know. They themselves do not have a clear definition of 24-hour economy. Ask them. I'm ready for a debate any day. At least I've explained to you in a simple language what 1D, 1F meant and what it means. They cannot define what the 24-hour economy means. They cannot.
You've not seen the policy document?
What does it say? They've been in office for 1.5 years.
The policy document that talks about, feed Ghana, wear Ghana, grow Ghana.
Okay, so let's start.
One minute. I'm not going to be the one to answer these questions. We've not seen the policy that talks about the establishment of Agbleduo and the, Volta River Economic Enclave project. You've not seen.
All right, so let's start with the Feed Ghana. Mm-hmm. Feed Ghana, they said in Kokonkiti, where Ghanaians would be introduced to the poultry business. Mm-hmm. So they will be given some birds to start some local poultry. And when they start, they sell, reinvest, and then others would benefit. But we've been told by the minister himself, the Agric minister, that the policy has failed because those who were given the birds consumed them.
Some of them. His words were some have consumed
those them. Who were given the birds have consumed them.
Some of them have consumed them.
And they even sent him videos.
Yes, some of them.
Right. Now, the some who have not consumed, he hasn't been able to tell us whether or not they've sold the birds, reinvested, whether or not there is some wealth creation at that level. So that is the point. Second, you talk about industry. You want to grow the Ghanaian economy through privatization. One of the key things to look at is cost of energy. You may recall that somewhere 2018, for the first time in our country, electricity tariffs were reduced from 18 to almost 30%, depending on for households had their own reduction. Industry had their own reduction and all of that. In this dispensation, the NDC, Mahama Chapter 2, Mahama Phase 2, and we are not sure of Phase 3 because they are talking of Phase 3. Now, they have increased electricity tariffs to almost 30%. Water, 19%. So again, there's a policy mismatch. You say you want to create an incentive to grow the economy and to employ more people. But the policy that must lead to that in itself has failed. Then you come to job creation itself directly. They came into office. The first thing they did was to even terminate the employment of those in the public sector. How do you create jobs?
Those that were appointed after 7th December?
Regardless, forget about whether they were appointed after 7th December. And
I'm just providing clarity.
No, well,
because when you say they terminated public sector jobs, my job is to say, okay, so the communication was those that were appointed post 7th December.
Originally, that was the interment, according to them. But there are, in my office, I have hundreds of petitions. Okay? People who have been in the employ of some state institutions since 2017, 18, 19, and all were affected. As recent as last month, MIF sacked some people who have been in the employ of MIF since 2019, 2022, 2023. All right? We have a serious unemployment challenge. Yet those who are already employed, you are sacking them. So again, you are not a government serious about job creation. You come into office with a partisan intent that anybody you suspect is not of your political tradition must suffer. And that level of policy discrimination leads the country to nowhere. And that is the NDC for you.
Okay. Let's get into something. And when you came earlier, you started by talking about the TikToker who had been arrested. I know in the course of the week also, Miracles Dennis Abuaji was picked up by Iyoko. And you've made reference to Iyoko, even as we spoke about the public tribunal saying, now that it's passed, very soon you realize that Iyoko will be taking people there. Based on what has been happening, we know of the Hanan issue also. Do you think the government is using these institutions to intimidate members of the NP? What are they doing?
The MPP is not against accountability. I repeat. In fact, no politician should be against accountability. You come into public life, you should know that one day you'll be called to account for your stewardship. So I will not stand in the way of accountability. But what the NDC is doing is not accountability. I don't think they believe in accountability, because if they do, the first institution they would deal with is Gold Board.
How?
So just one example, not more. Just one. The Gold Board awarded 11 million contract to the Deputy Chief of Staff at the presidency. And the man publicly wrote on his social media when people were questioning why he should benefit from that job. He said, but his party is in power. He also owns a business. Why? What is wrong?
He's a Ghanaian, isn't he?
Fine. No, it's okay. They did not see any conflict of interest there. They didn't see anything wrong with it. But, you know, the Gold Board Chief Executive, my own colleague at the bar, in opposition, was very loud. In fact, through his advocacy, somebody like Cecilia Dapa, her career came down. A distinguished politician, a mother, a woman of substance, respected in society, was reduced to nothing over something she had not done. The former Chief Justice, our brother Sami Jemfi, was loud against the Chief Justice. I recall during her trial, the hearing, the impress she was alleged to have returned and not properly accounted for. How much was it? Some $4,000 plus. They said she traveled with her husband. Mr. Sami Jemfi was loud on various media platforms, even as a Gold Board Chief Executive, questioning the woman why she took that decision and justifying why the woman must go. Today, if the NDC really wants to prove to Ghanaians that it believes in probity and accountability, the first place to look at is Gold Board. Apart from that, and this is just one of several, apart from that, the charges, World Bank, IMF, the IMF, after its review, has disclosed that the state has lost billions. When the minority raised the red flag, we were first told that we were blowing hot air. But quickly, a joint board meeting was convened between BOG and Gold Board, and the fees was reduced from 15% to 9%. When we spoke again and we raised the issue on the House floor, they again reduced it. And now they are looking at budgeting for the costs of this gold for reserve transaction. Aren't there some financial losses? Is the government not aware? Is the Attorney General, is Iyoko, is the Office of the Special Prosecutor not aware of these losses? Have they not seen the IMF report that is questioning government policy and raising red flags regarding the losses? Can't all these monies that they claim they are spending to implement an economic policy be used for some socio-economic infrastructure? So that is one thing. Now let's come to the recent Auditor General's report. You see, when it is MPP, the NDC will rush to say that there's an Auditor General's report, so they are relying on that. But when it's their time, it's their turn, they say that, oh, there are some errors. They are challenging the Auditor General's report and they think there were some errors and all of that. I am saying that in all of these...
Nothing stops you from using same.
Oh, don't worry. I'm making a point respectfully. In all of these, the point I want to make is they are inconsistent, they are unprincipled, and they should be taken just for their words by not actions. Because you see, if you believe in certain principles and you are holding somebody to it, you say that somebody should report. You wouldn't even wait for the person to report. You forcefully arrest him. You say, oh yeah, arrest is part of your mandate. You keep the person in custody. But when it is you think everything is okay because you are in power. No, it is wrong. I want the NDC to be consistent, to be principled, and to be reminded. It should remind itself of the very things it said in opposition.
Okay.
Now that they are in office.
We have 5 minutes to go, and I want us to do this. Let's look at the ministers. Now that you've ended on, they should be reminded of the things they said in opposition and the things, and now that they are in office. When you look at, all the about 56 ministers, who's your worst performing minister?
No, I can't do that. It would be unfair. Very unfair to do that. Very unfair to do that, to talk about the worst performing minister or to talk about best performing minister. But what I can say is that some ministers have been rendered redundant.
Who are those?
The minister who was supposed to be in charge of public sector reform, that respected member of parliament, the NES.
For Tempani?
Yes.
Linda Akwensivi, I think, yes.
And then the other one responsible for climate. And all. Those two ministers, I see that they've been rendered redundant. Now, I can also talk about the youth development minister.
Okay.
I believe that the youth development minister needs to be properly resourced to lead the youth development reforms and all of that. Because you see, everything that the government does must be connected to job creation. It is not enough to create bureaucracies and rely on bureaucracies for job creation. So I hold a view that the youth development minister, who was their former youth organizer, Pablo.
He's still the youth organizer.
Very well. Pablo's ministry needs to be properly resourced. Government, if it is really serious about job creation, we should see it manifesting at that ministry. So far, I don't see that, and I believe that is not making us see the best out of him.
Okay. The Minister for Climate Change is Baba Seidu Isifu.
Well, because there is not invisibility, I don't immediately remember his name.
Okay. But finally,
the man is not functioning.
Finally, before we go, how about the president? At least you can assess the president on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, not to do that assessment, but let me say something about the president.
Go ahead.
I think that Mr. President comes across as someone who is determined to pursue reforms, and people respected his words for it. But from what I see so far, I think that the hawks are more or less tied in his hands. The hawks in the party, because knowing him as a student back in the days, the calm, centrist thinking person, that earned the admiration of many Ghanaians. We can say that his first term, maybe some uncertainties, but now it is his final term. Though some people are putting in his mind that he can go third term and he should go third term. We are hearing it from government circles how people in government are not comfortable with that idea.
But he says he's not going to do a third term.
Well, as recent as yesterday, we in the minority picked some intel. It appears, it's unconfirmed though, but it appears Mr. President is interested in a third term. So maybe he would have to reassure the nation that it is not an idea he wants to entertain at all. I think that Mr. President would leave a good legacy if he's able to end this vicious cycle of you do me, I do you. My brother, I concede that we, the two political parties, have not done enough to stop this idea of political witch hunt. I concede. But there must be an end somewhere. I can speak for myself. I will not mention names. But when the 8 years of NPP, look, there was one day in the early days, 2017, I was in Winneba. A very important appointee of the Mahama administration was detained at Yoko. The wife had a little baby. And this man, I call him Wafa, a very good friend of mine. So he called me. I said, Wafa, I say, Omo di mi aba Yoko. Meanwhile, wife you kra akola ketwa. Ye mi enu pe na ye wo fi. Wife are you worried? Look, I drove from Winneba to Accra, straight to Yoko, went to ACP Amoah, and I said, Council, it's not fair. If you finished interrogating the man, let him go. I wasn't satisfied with his response. From there, I drove to Frema, Chief of Staff. It was around 11 p.m. And by the grace of God, that respected former appointee was made to go without asking him to post some property worth the amount being investigated. I did that for several others when I was not even in leadership. And when I came into leadership, together with somebody like Napo, sometimes people don't know who Napo is. The right time will come, we'll talk about him. Napo, Kandapa, Gabi. Sometimes people attack him. He's always being attacked here and there. We did a lot of night walking into ensuring that certain excesses are not pursued. I wouldn't say we 100% achieved what had to be achieved. All right? There were still some excesses and all of that. I am saying that the NDC getting this opportunity, it is true that some of them are bitter as a result of certain excesses during the Akufo-Addo administration. I concede. But we are a country. We are a democracy. Can't we pause and say that let's end this? Now, finally, I am making that call on Mr. President because of the great respect I have for him. That Mr. President, you can make it happen so that it makes life easy for those of us who are also moderates on the MPP side. That when Dr. Bawumia assumes office in 2029 and anybody is being attacked, we can call whoever out. At cabinet, people can contribute and say that no, let's end this thing. Because it is not good for the image of the country. We waste so much time attacking people. If the person is involved in any wrongdoing, pursue him, but with a human face. Let the law be there for everybody. It's not only me who is questioning the actions of government. Haruna has called out Yoko and all. The recent non-custodial sentencing law. Go and listen to Honorable Muntaka at the second reading. He spoke about some of these excesses in our system. So all I'm saying is that Mr. President has a golden opportunity to leave us with a legacy that would say that no to the vicious cycle of you do me, I do you. I will celebrate him if he's able to achieve that. That is the only demand I would want to make of him.
Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. We are grateful to you.
Thank you very
for
much.
Making time to be with us.